Hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and today I'm joined again by my co-host Nick Barr. We're talking a little Bulls basketball. How you doing today, Nick?
Oh, I am doing pretty well, Tony. You might not be able to see it in my face. A lot of sodium, little United Center food in me. So feeling good. Bulls win. I'm playing a little bit of an away game here, so I do apologize in advance for the lighting, the lack thereof, if you will. Bulls, on the other hand, played a home game. Tony and I were there to check it out and enjoy the win. Another win, third one in a row for the first time since, I believe, 2016. And then before that, 1996 and 1997. So
Wow.
Big things over in Chicago. Tony, want to do the dirty work first?
Yep, absolutely. We'll kind of get into all things Bulls this past weekend and the undefeated run they've been on. But before we do that, we're going to thank our sponsor, Stupid Card Tray.
Yes, sir. And we are full swing into Bulls season now. So if you want to enjoy Bulls games or Bears games, for whatever your taste is, at home or away, even more, head to stupidcardtray.com. Use code J16, that's JAY16 at checkout, and you'll get 16% off. The link will be in the description in this video. So check that out after we talk a little Bulls. Tony, we got to address Friday night a little bit. I know we're riding off the high of last night. It wasn't even nearly as pretty as Friday night. Friday night was almost just, it was such a blowout that it's like one of those things where you're like, of course we got to address it. But I feel like we're going to be talking so highly of the Bulls, the good vibes Bulls, they've been being called around the league, that, I don't want to overdo it, but we won 121-85. That is a real score. And, Javonte Green setting the crowd on fire. We got a lot of crowd favorites. That's one thing I will say. And especially noticing last night, we have a lot of crowd favorites. I think Alizé is a crowd favorite, obviously Caruso. And then Javonte Green gets a huge applause whenever he's in. We were up by 29, I believe, going into the fourth against the Pelicans. Lonzo's former team, he decided to drop a nice little triple-double, his eighth of his career. Feels like he's had more. He's always on the verge of getting a triple-double. That's probably why. He could have gone up for the slam himself, but he did a little side dish off to the Caruso, and it was absolutely brought the roof down. Not as good of attendance for the UC last night. Tony, were you a little worried like me when they started 9-0? The Pistons did, and then you start looking around, the stadium's a little bit empty. You're like, oh no, like we got this guy with a Tayshaun Prince jersey yelling next to me about his team beating us again. This feels like every other year, just another year. But in fact, it wasn't. Were you having those same feelings? Was I just like, I was like sitting in my chair like this? You probably noticed. I was like, no.
I was.
You were sinking down a little bit too. I remember.
Oh yeah, because I had Bulls first quarter, had them Bulls first half, had them full
That too.
game and everything. So yeah, going down 9-0 to start, and it wasn't like the Bulls Pistons game so far, both of them this year. Neither team gets off to a fast start. Obviously going up 9-0 is a good start, but it was
that's why it feels like it's every other year. Yeah, it feels like every other matchup with the Pistons now.
Yeah, they combined for 9 points through four quarters. That was through the first 4 minutes. So it was just
like my high school games, man. We would score like 30 points a game usually, and then I was like, oh no, man, this is not. I don't want to see the guys that I paid tickets for doing the same thing I was.
Yeah, it just felt like we were just slowly bleeding out to start the game, and it was like, oh man, it's fun while it lasted. We were we won 2 games, got that excited Friday night, that awesome Friday night victory. But obviously they ended up grinding it out, and that's what it's all about.
To be fair, with the whole Friday thing, I think, obviously that being the home opener, that was bound to sell out. I'm glad it sold out. Obviously we got to take the wins where we can right now. And I think that's why it probably wasn't as packed Saturday. Same people may not have been coming back, but it just, that dark cloud started floating over my head. And then once we came back with the 8-0 run, so then it was 9-8. We never looked back after that. Once we took the lead after that, we never looked back. So, and that was obvious if you watch the game, but basically Oh, the other thing I want to say about Friday and Saturday, I suppose, the Lonzo Ball block count is still alive. I'm informally making that a thing. I want to see how many games in a row he can get a block. Caruso also, I mean, he's all over the place. Obviously, bench mob player of the night was him. Um, and his just seeing them in transition, especially him and Lonzo, you can plug in anyone else there, and we're getting a bucket usually. So if we keep up this rebounding and this defensive effort, I mean, we should be scoring. I mean, we should be scoring more points too. I think Vooch needs to find his rhythm a little bit better. But though that was my main takeaway from last night. But the active hands, man, that's going to be like the buzzword of the Bulls. Like, but it's a thing. I mean, Io's doing it. Io was another guy who he's making the most of his minutes, proving that he should be in the rotation. And Billy, we didn't think he was going to play like this. I mean, we didn't think we were going to be this deep, right? We're proving all the critics wrong right away, right? Defensively, we're like 4th in the league right now. And we're still able to put up points. Like, I mean, I don't really see why. I mean, obviously we're supposed to win these 4 games, and I get that. But it's just good to see, like, it's good to see the things we're going to be our weaknesses. Turns out that they're actually not. Our length is not being much of a problem at the rim. Alizé, even only being 6'7", I mean, it's clear at this point he's our backup. I mean, he's our backup center. It's not Tony Bradley. He got garbage minutes both games. So those are a couple big takeaways I had. And then really, yeah, just playing a 10-team rotation or 10-player rotation. And Io's making the most of his minutes. Troy Brown, I think, is a threat from 3 too. So Tony, what else did you notice last night?
So I guess just in general, what I've noticed from like the start of the season, I'll kind of, do it because obviously we played the Pistons twice, and the first game and the third game were kind of the same. Obviously, they ended up being the second game against the Pistons ended up being more of a blowout. What I noticed is, and this makes me really excited, is that first game, obviously we were missing a lot of shots, but we played really good defense, of course. Pelicans, we played really good defense. We also scored it was 128 to 112. Like we got into a running match with them, and we outran them, we outscored them, and then again we come back against the Pistons, and like we said, we started off down 9-0. It was only 95 to I don't even know what I think score of that one was 97 to 82. End of the game. Yeah. So like, and that's they almost scored 100 points, but in today's NBA, I mean, like if you look down the list, like there were like 3 other teams last night that didn't score 100. So
right.
What is cool to see is we could play a defensive game and win and dominate, honestly, and then we could still run and gun with these teams like, dare I say, the Warriors. Once we kind of get into this longer schedule, this West Coast schedule, this harder schedule in November. So that's what my overall takeaway from the first 3 games is, like you said, our defense is awesome, but our offense is awesome. Overall, this team is just awesome, and there's really no other way to put it. We're very well rounded, and I love it.
And I will say, I think like just from a fan standpoint, I want to try to get, or, really from a big J journalism standpoint, I want to get my bias away. I feel like people can't stop talking highly of the Bulls. I think, like I said, at this point, as much as the 3 wins have been impressive, we were expecting to win these games. I mean, like I said, we got a hard stretch coming up here in November. So I hope at least the players and and Billy are thinking of this like we're just getting the job done, and obviously they're having fun out there. They're still getting used to each other, which is great. It's basically 80%, is a new roster, so I totally get that this is part of the process, but I want to hear 2 things from you, Tony. Give me 2 things that you would like to see improve for the Bulls, whether that be players, Bulls overall, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so it was more, I guess maybe it's just more against the Pistons, so who knows, maybe it's not a problem. My first thing is just getting off to a fast start and not getting in these holes, because we can come back again against the Pistons because they don't even have their number 1, the number 1 overall pick playing, but it's going to be harder once we start playing these real teams. Once we even like, teams like the Clippers, who I always clown on because I think they're trash, but they're, they still have good basketball players. They're not, so we got to get off to a fast start, or at least not not let
Stay
other
humble.
teams get off to a much faster start than us. That's all. That's more of what it comes
Agreed.
down to. Can't be going down
Agreed.
10-0 to start a game. And I guess the
Agreed.
second one is this is going to be kind of aimed at Vucevic. I love him. He's great, but
That was going to be mine too.
Okay. So he kind of just chucks some threes at bad times where the risk reward is much more, there's much more risk than reward, I think, where
Early in the shot clock, right? I think that was your big
yes.
your big thing that you said during the game. I mean, they and you're right. I feels
We're
like
only up
and
like
of course,
5 points.
You can stat,
you know.
Feel free to stat check us, but it felt like the majority of them, or at least too many. I'll say too many just to keep it vague. Came early on in the shot clock within 6-8 seconds. So that I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and it's because it's early in the shot clock, and it's like, yeah, once we're up like 25, it doesn't matter. Or even if it is, we're trying to get back in the game, that's fine too. At least you're chucking up there. But it's like, yeah,
He's got the green
run.
light.
We're on a run. We
say.
get a block, a steal or something, and we're only up like 5, and we just come down and just, instead of running the offense, it's Vooch, here you go for 3, just clanks it off the side of the rim. It's just one of those like, okay, yeah, we would have gone up 8, I guess. But now instead we just waste a possession. They have the ball back to, cut it to a 1-score game. So that's my biggest thing. And that's not just Vooch. I think I love Lonzo too. I think he has become a better shooter already. However, when he gets hot at the start, he's just like, I'm going to be hot all game, baby. And he just kind of chucks too. And again, that's fine. I'd rather have him, have that green light to shoot, because I think even more will fall as the season goes along. But shot selection, that's, I guess, if you want to kind of sum it up.
Well, it's going to matter.
Shot selection.
Yeah. And again, I think part of that is they're kind of caught up in the good vibes and the hype right now, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, because I don't think that's unsustainable. I think that just means we have good chemistry, but it's just new. It's the new relationship, right? You're going out all the time. It's a new thing still. But I couldn't agree more with Vooch. That was going to be one of mine. And then the second one was actually Patrick Williams. I mean, I understand it's early with all of this. Obviously, take that into consideration. It is early, but there's just something it's more of a feel thing for me, right? Like it's like a gut thing, which is dumb. I know it's not quantitative, right? And we want to do stats here, but it just doesn't feel like he's getting into any sort of rhythm. I mean, yes, he's making buckets, and he is shooting over was shooting over 50% from the field last night. I mean, only 9 points, but he was 4 for 7 and it looked good. They were like wide open looks, I will say. And we were trying to run offense through him, putting him through pick and rolls. I just want to see a little bit more production out of him, taking more shots. If we're going to run our offense through him like we will on some occasions, we got too many weapons to waste it, man. And I don't want to be harsh, okay? But that's just the truth. Then I do want to see him get better. I know it is his second year. I do think he will get better. But if I had to pick 2 things I want to see improve, one would be Vooch, and I think he'll catch on. He's a vet. But the other will be Patrick Williams, because again, it's only his second year, so we don't know where he can get to. And right now, I'm not super confident. So that would be my other one.
I think what kind of hurts his,
I will say he does have to make it count. You might be saying this right now, but he does have to kind of make it count when he gets the opportunity, right? Because I'm saying they were running a few plays for him, but that, at least that from a coaching standpoint, we want him to be a scorer. It's clear he has the green light, right? So that's more what I was getting at. I just want to see him be a little bit more aggressive, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's taking it easy a little, still getting back in the swing of things. It's like, they're not crazy pushing him, which may be the case. And if that's the case, it's fine. Again, we're not losing yet. It's not like hampering our ability to win yet. So that's,
I'm only human after all.
Exactly. We got Stacey King singing over here. And
he's so
the
great,
other thing is too, though, having Javonte Green coming off the bench and just being a ball of energy,
such a spark. Yeah,
in like his spot. That's kind of what that also definitely makes it harder to be like, it just makes it harder for Patrick Williams. It's okay.
And I know it's not his position, but like I said, Io too, making the most out of his minutes, where he's, he ends up running some of these breaks. He was getting assists, he was getting steals, block. Everyone, I know it's tough when we're spreading it across. I mean, if you look at our box score from last night, I mean, I don't think anyone had over. Anyone have over 20 points? I don't think. Like, I mean, we spread it across, man, and that's beautiful. I mean, that's why we got these weapons for Zach. I think I said the exact same thing before, but I mean, he only had 11 or 14 points, but it wasn't
none
that
in the
he
first
was
half, too. I think.
right.
Right.
But it wasn't like he was playing terribly. I mean, he wasn't shooting the best, but he was. I mean, when he did have the ball, he was mostly, you know, he was either creating plays, driving, or scoring. So like, listen, this is what we signed up for. I think he's very open to it. Like I said, the chemistry seems great. But yeah, I think you're right. But again, it was a fourth. I hate to be the guy, but he was a fourth overall draft pick. I would like to see a little bit more out of the paw. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And I think we will too. I'm very confident.
Quick little fact check. DeMar DeRozan did break 20 points. He had 21.
21.
So I will say, shout out to me for being correct so far on our last podcast. I said the best part about DeMar is he's not, yes, he will have those games where he does, score 40. Like, he is just a good basketball player, great scorer. But the best part about him is the fact that, like we said, in game 3 and game 53, he's gonna get about 20 points, minimum. That's basically his floor, barring injury, obviously, or anything crazy. But he is just the guy that's going to keep that shit steady. When Zach LaVine played, I swear he played 8 minutes in the first half. Like, and that was fine because everyone else was playing good. And that,
right.
Basically giving him a rest on a day that we were playing a game, fine with that. Completely okay with it, as long as the rest of the team can pick it up, which they did. So that was
I think Zach, he's a good guy, man. I think he knows, just like we know, that it's going to be a good thing long term to know that he has a bench behind,
And it was the first back-to-back of the season too. Like,
true.
What, third, fifth day of like the calendar season, the new season. So overall, Billy, shout out Billy, good coaching. That's what I'll call it, because I think that was like hey, okay, you had a rough first quarter or whatever it is. Maybe you're a little tired last night.
And he dropped 32 the night before.
Went absolutely ballistic the night before. It's like, hey, let's we'll just let these other guys play, and it's all good. And they did. And
let him get his favorite Gatorade flavor and let him chill out, man.
Yeah,
just for a little bit, especially if we're playing like that.
And that's so. I guess my biggest overall takeaway of what I'm happiest about, most excited about with this team, and we've kind of talked about it, I think, leading up to every time, is so like we kind of just said here. I'll just kind of sum it all up. Is the fact that when there was DeRozan, who didn't play as well in the first game of the season, or not didn't play as well, just didn't score as many points, I guess. LaVine didn't play as much, didn't score as much, whatever it is. We have a really good all-around team right now that can pick each other up. Like we said, Alizé Johnson, he's 6'7" out there, just grabbing boards over three guys. Like, again, there was that one rebound against the Pelicans where he just fought through three guys, was just shaking his entire body, kicked it out for a three. Yes, whoever, I think Lonzo made the three, that was all him. He should have gotten the 3 points, that double assist, something like that. So overall, that's my favorite part about this team, is that will continue to translate. I know these teams aren't great, but the fact they got the chemistry, they have the guys that they can go. What did they go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They go 10 deep, and eventually I'm sure they'll get Tony Bradley, Marcus Savonovich, hopefully, and some of the Derrick Jones Jr. in there.
Baby Koo coach.
Yeah, baby Koo coach. So, Nick, do you have any, I guess, overall takeaways, final thoughts? What do you got to say?
As much as of course, we all like watching electric offense, transition, oops, slam, shy slam-a-jamas. But listen, man, the defense proving everyone wrong you got to love that. As low-hanging fruit as it is, I know everyone's saying this right now, but I mean, that was the biggest thing, right? Why everyone's like, no, the Bulls are still going to be under 500 because, one, this is the first year. People love to say, like, there's only one ball. How are they going to share? And blah, blah, blah. And they just said their defense wasn't going to be for real. Now, like I said, I think and DeRozan, I will say DeRozan has been stepping up on the defensive end. I know he's not known to be a defensive player, but he's providing some rim protection too. And that was like my main concern. So I think that's the coolest part. I mean, looking up at the scoreboard, into the fourth while you were gone forever, unfortunately, in lines, Tony had a bad experience. He missed the third quarter. Again, you didn't miss anything too electric. We were just slowly burying their grave, slowly increasing the lead. And then just seeing the Pistons with 54 points going into the fourth quarter, that made me smile, man.
Yep, I agree, and I'll just finish it with so I went to get a hot dog and a beer at halftime, and shout out the fast break concession
Just
stand
a guy's guy, just a hot dog and a beer. That's all he
between
wanted.
section 333 and 334. Where the real men, the real and women, the people sit. I should say
The people.
Absolutely,
Yes.
the real Bulls fans sit up in the nosebleeds, and it's totally because we couldn't afford better seats. But that's okay. So yeah, it was backed up. They were serving the same guy from 6 minutes left to halftime through the first half of the third quarter. Finally, that guy went on his way and it sped up a little. And I just missed getting a beer because it was 2 minutes into the fourth quarter when I finally got to the front of the line. I missed the Bulls beating the
What was
Pistons
taking
in the
so
third
long?
quarter.
What did he get?
I don't
a whole
know.
keg?
I honestly don't know. It was just one guy. He walked away with 2 beers and like a pretzel. It wasn't like I thought he ordered maybe something crazy. No, he just ordered a very normal thing. So missed the Bulls beating the Pistons 25-11 in the third quarter, which seemed like it was awesome. And
what you really missed was a good old right from the chest Detroit sucks chant, man. And we had it in the 300. And I'll give you props. You tried to start it multiple times. It just didn't work out very well. But just know I chimed in your honor while you were waiting for a hot dog.
Well, I appreciate that. It sucks that Detroit sucks, because back when the Red Wings are good, when the Tigers were good, when these teams were good, a good old fashioned Detroit sucks chant was just uniting.
There was more
time,
behind it. Yeah.
And it's fun when Detroit's good, like when the Pistons are good, like that just makes everything fun.
Agreed.
With that, this was a long one. If anybody got to this point, thank you very much for listening to the whole thing. So that'll do it for another episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Cepeda. Thank you again to my co-host Nick Barr. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, Bulls fans, keep seeing red.
I'll have a headband next time.
Bye. Okay, perfect.